Have you ever felt overwhelmed and stressed even as you're getting ready for bed? Like your mind is racing with thoughts and worries from the day instead of winding down for rest? Seneca, the ancient philosopher, said, "It is a wretched thing that the soul should add to its own wretchedness." In our busy modern lives, our evenings have become rushed. We quickly transition from one hectic day to the next. We collapse into bed mentally drained, thinking about unfinished tasks, lingering concerns and regrets. Is this really living or just existing on autopilot? But what if I told you that your nights offer a chance to transform your mindset and find deeper meaning? In the hours before sleep, you can tap into a wellspring of calm, clarity, and wisdom to elevate your outlook for each new day. This video isn't just passive watching. It's an invitation to explore the timeless principles of Stoicism, the ancient philosophy that teaches virtue, resilience, and unshakable wisdom. We'll uncover 7 powerful Stoic lessons to make part of your nightly routine that will turn your evenings into periods of self-reflection, intention setting, and inner peace. Here are the 7 lessons we'll learn. How to deeply reflect on your actions that day to understand your virtues and flaws, shaping your character. How to envision upcoming obstacles to mentally prepare and build resilience. How to express gratitude by appreciating life's simple gifts to cultivate contentment. How to gain timeless wisdom by reading passages from Stoic texts. How to purposefully disconnect from digital noise to reconnect with your inner self. How to master the art of letting go of what's outside your control. How to set intentions aligned with your core values to manifest your highest ideals. As Marcus Aurelius said, "It is not death that a man should fear, but he should fear never beginning to live." By learning and applying these lessons, you'll do more than just exist. You'll awaken to truly live with purpose, wisdom, and lasting inner peace. But this isn't a lecture to passively watch. We invite you to actively participate by sharing your thoughts and perspectives in the comments. Stay until the end, because this journey promises more than just knowledge. It offers an opportunity for profound self-reflection and personal transformation. So let's begin. As the amber glow of dusk fades and the world slows its frantic pace, a gateway to enlightenment emerges. The ancient Stoics weren't just philosophers, they were architects of the human spirit, master builders of inner strength to withstand life's inevitable storms. And in today's age of constant distraction and chaos, their teachings are more vital than ever. How often do we feel adrift, our attention pulled in countless directions, our sense of purpose scattered? Yet the Stoics taught that true mastery doesn't come from controlling external circumstances, but from fortifying the island of our mind. In the evening sanctuary before sleep, we have a chance to reinforce our inner foundations and ground ourselves in timeless wisdom. As Epictetus, the former slave who became a Stoic sage, reminds us, there is but one way to tranquility of mind and happiness. Let this, therefore, be always ready at hand with you, both when you wake in the morning and all the night long, to run over the pillars of tranquility, perform with diligence every action of your life. The pillars he refers to are the virtues, the core principles that allow us to navigate life's storms with grace and unshakable calm. It's in the stillness of our evenings that we can strengthen these virtues within ourselves by learning these 7 lessons. So brew your evening tea or coffee, light a candle if it resonates with you, and let the gentle rhythms of ancient wisdom accompany you towards slumber. By making these 7 Stoic nighttime lessons part of your routine, you birth a new way of living, a life in harmony with nature's great symphony. Lesson 1. Reflection on the day's actions. As night falls and the day winds down, there's a powerful ritual to practice, reflecting on how you spent your waking hours. The ancient Stoic philosophers cherished this habit, not just as a mental exercise, but as a transformative way to understand yourself at your core. As Seneca said, "Life's journey is not to visit strange landscapes, but to possess different eyes, to behold the universe through the eyes of another, and to glimpse the secret laws of nature." When we reflect, we get to step outside ourselves and observe our actions impartially, almost as an outsider looking in. Think back over the seemingly small moments that filled your day. Casual conversations, decisions you made, interactions with colleagues or loved ones. By hitting pause and reflecting, you gain clarity to dissect those moments and understand the true motivations and emotions driving your choices. Was that flash of impatience at your spouse actually stemming from real frustration? Or was it rooted in an insecurity or negative bias brewing under the surface? When you complimented a coworker on a job well done, were you genuinely impressed and appreciative? Or did you have an ulterior motive, like angling for their praise in return? This type of honest self-reflection allows you to identify your virtues, the positive qualities that surface during the day, but it also brings to light your vices and shortcomings that manifest through your behaviors and reactions. But reflection goes beyond just scrutinizing your actions through a critical lens. It opens the door to profound self-understanding and awareness. By seeing why you made the choices you did, you unravel the deeper layers of your psyche, the fears, desires, core beliefs, and assumptions that subconsciously influence how you show up. For example, maybe you kept procrastinating and avoiding an important work task all day. Was it truly a lack of motivation and discipline holding you back? Or was an underlying fear of failure from past setbacks sabotaging your drive? If you got overly defensive or angry during a disagreement, was it really about the matter at hand? Or did it strike a deeper chord, reopening an old self-doubt wound? These are the types of eye-opening insights you can gain through nightly self-reflection. With this level of self-awareness comes the foundation to actively grow as a person. You can purposefully shape the qualities you want to embody, while directly confronting the counterproductive traits holding you back. As Marcus Aurelius wisely wrote, "No man is free who is not master of himself." By making nightly reflection a ritual before bed, you take the first crucial steps towards true self-mastery. Not mastery over the external world, but over the universe of thoughts, emotions, and learned patterns within you. You become the architect renovating the blueprint of your character. You get to decide which parts of your identity to reinforce and build up, and which aspects need some demolition and remodeling work. You proactively mold yourself into your best, most virtuous version. So tonight, before you drift off to sleep, take a few grounding moments to walk through the events of your day. Observe them with a neutral, curious eye, like an explorer mapping the uncharted territories of your inner self. Don't judge or condemn the discoveries. Simply take notice with an open mind and heart, because in this nightly ritual lies the key to the most meaningful, life-enriching journey there is, the path to knowing yourself truly and fundamentally, and using that knowledge to become better with each new day. Lesson 2. Contemplating tomorrow's challenges. As the mind begins to drift toward the realm of slumber, there emerges an opportunity to fortify ourselves for the adventures that await with the rising sun. The ancient Stoics understood that resilience isn't born from reacting to obstacles, but from proactively envisioning and preparing for them. This practiced what was called the premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils or potential adversities. Now, before you recoil at such a foreboding term, understand that this wasn't about cultivating a mindset of fear or paranoia. Quite the opposite, in fact. By taking a few moments each night to thoughtfully contemplate the challenges that may unfurl in the coming day, we strip them of their element of surprise. We expose potential pitfalls to the warm light of conscious awareness, allowing us to game plan our responses with poise and rationality. Picture your agenda for tomorrow, the meetings you have scheduled, the projects that require your attention, the difficult conversations that may need navigating. Don't obsess over every possible what-if scenario. Simply acknowledge the ones that carry a reasonable possibility of manifesting. For instance, perhaps you have a high-stakes presentation ahead. Don't recoil from the prospect of an equipment malfunction or a derailing question from a skeptical colleague. Gently cycle through those what-ifs, visualizing how you would respond with grace and unflappable professionalism. Or maybe a tense dialogue with a loved one looms on the horizon, born from a long-standing disagreement. Don't shy away from the potential emotional turmoil. Walk yourself through the conversation mentally, focusing not on their rebuttals, but on how you would remain centered, communicating through patience and compassion. This mental rehearsal, this premeditation of difficulties, serves a dual purpose. First, it begins removing the sting and anxiety of the unknown. When adversity does rear its head, you'll be able to call upon the calm, rational responses you've already mapped out in the theater of your mind's eye. But secondly, and perhaps more importantly, it instills a profound mindset shift. Rather than perceiving obstacles as impassable obstructions, you begin to view them as inevitable pathways to growth, mastery, and fortifying your philosophical core. As Seneca sagely advised, "Fire tests gold. Suffering tests brave men. By preemptively envisioning challenges and formulating measured responses, you treat each one not as an existential threat but as a welcome opportunity to put the tenets of Stoicism into practice. So tonight, as your head rests upon the pillow, don't fret over what uncertainties tomorrow may bring. Envision them, yes, but with the curiosity of a philosopher and the calm assertion of a spiritual warrior. Forge the day's plot lines in the deepest crucibles of your mind until you greet each perceived obstacle as a familiar friend. One whose embrace you've rehearsed and preemptively return with wisdom and equanimity. For in this ritual you are no mere mortal preparing for a series of inevitable battles. No, you are akin to a grandmaster anticipating each move and counter-move upon the chessboard of fate, staying forever one step ahead and perpetually anchored in a disposition of philosophical might. Lesson 3. Expressing gratitude. As the world around us descends into the velvety embrace of night, a profound invitation awaits, the chance to express gratitude. But this isn't about offering a reflexive thanks before a meal or after receiving a kind gesture. No, the gratitude the ancient Stoics prescribed runs far deeper. It's an entire philosophical framework, a way of perceiving and existing within the vast cosmic theater of life itself. At its core, this expression of thankfulness is about reframing our perspective. Too often, our minds fixate on what we lack, the achievements we haven't unlocked, the possessions we don't own, the idealized phantom of more that always seems maddeningly out of reach. The Stoics understood that this mindset breeds a pernicious discontentment, a misguided attachment to the impermanent and superficial. But when we cultivate an attitude of gratitude, something profound occurs. The world reveals itself as an endless tapestry of reasons to appreciate the profound miracle of existence. We begin to assign value not to what we acquire, but to what we already inalienably possess, the gift of sentient presence within this grand play called life. So as the amber hue of dusk yields to night's starry overture, take a moment to look around, really look. Marvel at the intimate simplicity of the present moment, the sound of your inhaled breath, the faint scents and shadows dancing across your senses. The mere fact that you can perceive and experience any of this at all, this, the Stoics taught, is reason enough for endless gratitude. For we are receivers of the ultimate cosmic gift, life itself, experienced through the kaleidoscope lenses of our embodied awareness. What could be more humbling, more precious, more utterly miraculous than this? Perhaps your day contained grand moments you can give thanks for, a professional achievement, the birth of a child, the warm reunion with a loved one. Equally, though, let your gratitude expand to the modest miracles that often go unappreciated. The way sunlight filtering through a window blinds cast kaleidoscopic patterns across your living room floor, the first sip of your morning coffee's rich aroma, the laughter of a passing child. For the Stoics, to be blagodarna, grateful, was to live perpetually in breathless, wide-eyed appreciation of the perennial performance miracle unfolding all around. This spiritual virtue, this perspective of gratitude, acts as a universal antidote to the poisons of life: anger, greed, jealousy, resentment. How could we remain mired in such morbid states when we wake each day centered in thankfulness for the sheer profundity of drawing breath? The poet Rumi once extolled, "Let the beauty we love be what we do." In practicing nightly gratitude, we take this notion and reverse its flow. We train ourselves to first love, to appreciate, to express awe and reverence for the beauty and simplicity around and within us. Then, and only then, can our actions become authentic expressions of that love, aligned with the cosmic heartbeat of thankful existence. So tonight, let your mind lovingly linger on the day's innumerable reasons to be grateful. Don't approach it as a chore, but as a sacred ritual of perspectival rebirth. With each moment of appreciation, each inhale imbued with thankfulness, you breathe new life into your soul. You become, in the most profound sense, fully, vibrantly, reverentially alive. Lesson 4. Reading Stoic texts. As the world outside grows still and quiets its perpetual hum, an opportunity presents itself, a chance to engage in a timeless dialogue, to delve into the immortal wellsprings of Stoic wisdom. For in these sacred evening hours, we can turn to the very words and writings of philosophy's greatest luminaries. Imagine yourself seated in a study, a crackling fire filling the room with a warm, vitalizing glow. Across from you is none other than Seneca, the great Stoic philosopher and advisor to Emperor Nero. His gaze meets yours as he shares insights distilled from a lifetime of reflection. We are not given a life lived out, but rather the materials for one. Or perhaps Marcus Aurelius, Roman emperor and author of the seminal Meditations, leans in to impart his perspective. The universe is change. Our life is what our thoughts make it. With each passage, new philosophical vistas emerge, causing you to pause and contemplate the profound implications. This is no passive textbook reading, no mere intellectual exercise. When we immerse ourselves in these timeless Stoic writings during the quiet sanctity of night, we're engaging in an intimate discourse across the vastness of centuries. We become travelers traversing the landscape of human enlightenment itself. One moment, we're grieving the impermanence of all things alongside Epictetus, the former slave who counseled, "Make the best use of what is in your power and take the rest as it happens." The next, we find ourselves absorbing the cosmic wisdom of Marcus Aurelius. The universe is transformation. Life is opinion. With each extracted kernel of Stoic thought and perspective, our minds calibrate towards a channel of deeper awareness of heightened existence. We begin shedding outdated tendencies, the impulses of ego, fear, and fleeting desire. In their place blossoms a newfound sense of acceptance, composure, and alignment with nature's great unfolding. These passages become molten philosophical poolings within the furnaces of our souls. We steep in their heat and excavate our own unique understandings forged from the interplay of our personal experiences and the Stoics' eternally relevant words. An anxious thought emerges. We conjure Epictetus, reminding, "It's not things that upset us, but our opinions about things." A professional setback arises and we resurface Marcus Aurelius's advice to accept whatever comes to you, woven in the rich tapestry of life. Over time, this evening practice alchemizes into something transformative and sustaining. These immortal Stoic lines become balms applied to our troubled psyche, steadying mantras in the squall of adversity and eternal spring wells of wisdom, perpetually reoxygenating our being. We become beacons for composure and transcendent enlightenment in a world increasingly suffused with turmoil and uncertainty. So tonight, build this ritual. Select your preferred Stoic primer, be it Seneca's letters or meditations or the discourses of Epictetus. Allow their words to permeate you, to intermingle with the fibers of your lived experience and self-conception. Don't analyze it first, but let their essence simply wash over you like a warm, salubrious shower. For in this sacred space where ancient wisdom and modern existence intersect, we undergo a profound metamorphosis of spirit. No longer are we adrift in life's churning tempests, torn between competing impulses and buffeted by events beyond our control. Instead, we become timeless students and practitioners, our thoughts and actions harmonized with the eternal tides of nature, acceptance, and enlightened presence. We become, in essence, Stoics, modern-day purveyors of the ancient path of uncommon philosophy and lasting inner freedom. Lesson 5. Solitary stillness. In an age besieged by the incessant hum of digital inputs, notifications, and endless streams of content, there emerges a sacred rite, the purposeful act of solitary stillness. As the night's velvet silence envelops the world, we are presented with an invaluable opportunity to disconnect from the external symphony and tune inwards towards the whispers of our innermost selves. The ancient Stoics understood the necessity of this purposeful disconnection. They recognized that amidst the tempestuous winds of daily life, our true source of clarity and composure lies not in perpetual engagement with the outside world, but in the hallowed chambers of our interior realms. Imagine yourself, in those evening hours, having consciously unplugged from the myriad devices and detached from the soul-saturating deluge of texts, emails, and news feeds. The quiet descends gently, a warm silence, akin to a tender embrace. This is the womb space where you can finally re-inhabit yourself fully. Take a few grounding breaths, feeling your lungs expand and contract in synchronicity with the world's respiring rhythms. As you exhale, envision yourself shedding layer after layer of the external, the roles you've played, the obligations you've tended to, the chaotic motion of existing in perpetual output mode. With each breath, you return to the unadorned essence of your being, It's in this sacred stillness that we can finally reconnect with those deepest core aspects of self so often obscured. Our emotions, our intrinsic wellsprings of motivation, our meditative thoughts unencumbered by external noise. The Stoics referred to this as studying the self, of turning our spiritual gaze inwards upon our own nature. It was Seneca who extolled retreat into yourself as much as possible. Associate with those who will make a better person of you. But in our modern age of ubiquitous connection, this teaching takes on new urgency and relevance. For when we deny ourselves these nightly intervals of solitude and disconnection, we risk becoming permanently exiled from our most authentic selves. We shapeshift into mere avatars, reactively volleying between the inbound missiles of phone notifications, status updates, and news cycle alarms, forever outwardly focused, inwardly atrophied. But in reclaiming the stillness and letting the world's frenetic score fade to resonant silence, we reclaim sovereignty over our interior domains. We become reacquainted with the gentle murmurings of our intuition, the nuances of our emotional landscapes, the deep creative upwellings forever threatened by incessant distraction. So tonight, after you've closed the LED luminescent portals and powered down your handheld windows to the world's clamor, embrace the quiet. Find a comfortable space, light a candle, or gaze outwards towards the night sky's splendor, and simply be. Exist for a sacred interval, unshackled from duty and obligation. Respire in tandem with the cosmic inhales and exhales. Let the whirrings of your mind's perpetual motion slowly downshift into tranquility. Reconnect with the miracle of sentient awareness animating your being. Rediscover the profoundly simple joys, the crackle of a flickering flame, the whispers of your heart's rhythm, the undulating dance of shadows and light. For it's in these hallowed intervals of solitude and stillness that we indeed study ourselves most vividly. We reunite with the timeless essence, invariantly awaiting our arrival beyond the exterior hurricane of roles and responsibilities. We become, for treasured moments at least, seekers and sages within the vastness of our own interior study, whole, aligned, and profoundly, reverentially awake. Lesson 6. Releasing the uncontrollable. As the world around us surrenders to the velvety cloak of night, an invitation beckons, the chance to relinquish our grip on that which lies beyond the boundaries of our influence. This sacred right, cherished by the ancient Stoics, serves as an emancipating tonic for the modern soul, unshackling us from the weight of the uncontrollable. At the heart of Stoic philosophy lies a profound discernment, the ability to distinguish between the external forces that lie within our command and the vast expanse of circumstances that unfurl beyond our dominion. To the Stoics, clinging to the latter was akin to battling the tides, an exercise in futility that only exhausts and demoralizes. Imagine carrying an invisible burden throughout your waking hours, an amorphous mass of expectations, outcomes, situations you desperately sought to choreograph through sheer force of will. The weight grows more cumbersome with each encounter, each scenario over which you mistakenly believe you can exert control. By nightfall, you find yourself spiritually and psychologically depleted. But in these twilight moments of transition, the ancient teachings offer an emancipating truth. You can choose to relinquish this encumbrance. You can opt to place it down, to unfurl your clenched fingers and watch as it dissipates like a gossamer fabric caught in the breeze. Epictetus, the former slave who became a luminary Stoic philosopher, shared a parable that captures this wisdom exquisitely. He counseled students to envision two types of circumstances, the controllable and the uncontrollable, the former being akin to a freedman's personal possessions, the latter like an inn along a journey. Over which do you have mastery? Only the possessions, for the inn and all its particulars ultimately lie beyond our command. So as you prepare to embrace the night's tranquil pause, take a transcendent inhalation and visualize tomorrow's uncertainties, the meetings whose outcomes you cannot predict, the personal decisions others may make beyond your influence, the myriad uncontrollable details that could scatter your plans like errant winds. Rather than steeling your jaw against their inevitability or clenching your fists in a futile grasp, practice the radically emancipating act of releasing them from your reproach. Breathe out and envision each concern, each fixation on an outcome you cannot control, evaporating from the sphere of your focus like a dissolving mist. Sense the physical release, the lightening of your spiritual burden as you relinquish each uncontrollable circumstance to the overarching flow of nature's unfolding currents. For when we cling to the uncontrollable, we become misaligned with life's cosmic choreography, bucking like salmon furiously attempting to swim upstream. But in releasing our attachments to outcomes beyond our influence, we harmonize with existence itself. We become attuned to the holistic symphony, poised to gracefully accept whatever notes present themselves, focused only on executing our parts with flawless clarity. This nightly ritual of release is not resigned apathy. It is an elevated enlightenment, an aligning of our harmonized being with the all-encompassing flow of the universe's grand composition. For what is fate, destiny, and the future's unwritten script, if not an ethereal area to which we must become adept improvisers and artistic partners, not a wish tyrants futilely attempting to rearrange its notes through sheer force. So tonight, as you lay your gaze towards the starlit overture, practice this sacred act of release. Let your burdens of attachment to the uncontrollable gently dissolve into the cosmos's infinite waltz. Breathe out each outcome you frantically sought to direct and let it dissipate into the eternal music of what is, what will be, and what was always inevitable. For in this ritual lies the most empowering of surrenders, the sublime acceptance that you are not just a passenger in existence's great voyage, but an impassioned dancer, effortlessly harmonizing with its choreographies both visible and unseen, while pouring the fullest artistry of your being into each step, each flourish, each transcendent improvisation of spirit. Lesson 7. Setting Intentions. As the celestial curtain of night ascends and day's fading light grows faint, an opportunity emerges, a chance to harness the profound power of intention. For it is in these tranquil evening moments that we can purposefully align our future actions with the virtues and ideals we wish to embody. The ancient Stoics understood that simply drifting from one day to the next, unmoored and rudderless, was akin to resigning ourselves to the whims of circumstance. To live intentionally, to mold each new dawn into an expression of our highest philosophies, required a conscious sojourn into the space of purposeful articulation. Imagine for a moment placing a series of diverse objects before you, perhaps a feather, a stone, and a lump of molten steel. Left to the unguided flow of nature's physical forces, their trajectories would be haphazard and reactionary, but introduce intention into the equation, and something transformative occurs. With clarity of purpose, the feather can be set aloft on inspired currents of air. The stone can be shaped into a work of art through focused discipline, and the molten steel can be forged into an enduring tool whose strength defies the ravages of time. In this symbolic allegory lies the essence of Stoic intention, the power to alchemize each new day from a mere concatenation of moments into a conscious expression of our most deeply held virtues and ideals. So as the night's velvety calm descends, and your mind begins to shed the frenzied cadences of the day's bustle, dedicate yourself to this ritual articulation. What principles did you wish to embody through your thoughts, words, and deeds when the sun's first rays crest the horizon anew? Perhaps your guiding intention is to move through the world with a posture of humility and wisdom, absorbing life's currents gracefully while remaining unencumbered by ego's disruptive snares. Anchored in this intention, even seemingly insignificant interactions, a passing conversation in the office halls, a minor disagreement over household chores, become opportunities to breathe flesh onto your aspirational ideals. You become a living embodiment of equipoise and humble forbearance. Or maybe your lodestar for the forthcoming day is courage, not the shallow bravado of recklessness, but the philosophical fortitude to act in alignment with your sacred values regardless of external turbulences and pressures. With this intention seared into your consciousness like a baliza, you'd move through a series of professional challenges and interpersonal obstacles, embodying the unshakable calm of one whose actions arise from an innermost wellspring of conviction, not merely circumstantial demands. The profound beauty of this Stoic ritual is that it allows us to transform ourselves from mere tumblers in fortune's unreliable winds into architects of our own consciousnesses. No longer are we at the mercy of impulse, momentarily swept along by the day's currents of happenstance. Instead, through this grounding evening practice, we become the captains of our interiority, the orchestrators of our minute-by-minute experiences, as they blossom from our chosen seeds of intention into expressions of grandeur or deflation, depending on their governance. As Marcus Aurelius reminded, the universe is change. Our life is what our thoughts make it. By ceremoniously setting our intentions each night to harmonize with our highest philosophical principles, we indeed become the authors of our day's narratives. So as this night's cloak envelops your world, sit for a few grounding breaths and ponder. What principles, ideals, and virtues do you wish to breathe life into through your thoughts, choices, and deeds when next the sun's rays kiss the horizon? Allow these aspirations to fill you, to infuse your being with crystalline purpose and lucidity. Then carry them like a sacred ember into the temporary oblivion of sleep's regenerative interlude. For in doing so, you ensure that the next day greets you not as a hollow series of unconscious reactions, but as a purposefully constructed experience, a living masterwork, co-crafted between your soul's deepest intentions and existence's grand unfolding adventure. Conclusion. At the end of each day, as the world around us grows quiet and still, we're presented with a powerful opportunity. By taking the time to practice these 7 Stoic evening rituals, we can elevate our nights into something truly transformative. Instead of just mindlessly going through the motions of getting ready for bed, we use these final waking hours as a sacred space for self-reflection, intention setting, and realigning with our core values and philosophies. In Lesson 1, we learned the importance of looking back before resting. Reflecting honestly on our actions, decisions, and responses from the day allows us to identify areas where we exemplified virtue and areas needing improvement. This self-awareness lays the groundwork for meaningful personal growth. Lesson 2 showed us how to mentally prepare for tomorrow's challenges by visualizing potential obstacles and rehearsing our calm, rational responses. Rather than being caught off guard, we build the inner fortitude to handle whatever comes our way with poise. Expressing gratitude, as we explored in Lesson 3, reorients our perspective from scarcity to appreciating life's countless gifts. Even amid difficulties, we can find reasons to approach each new day with a sense of thankfulness. The ancient Stoics understood the value of consistently immersing ourselves in wise teachings, which we revisited in Lesson 4. Reading and contemplating profound passages strengthens our philosophical foundations to navigate life's storms. In our age of constant digital inputs, Lesson 5 revealed the importance of solitude and stillness. Purposefully disconnecting allows us to tune inward, reconnecting with our deeper selves beyond the noise and distractions. Lesson 6 imparted the liberating mindset shift of releasing what lies beyond our control. Instead of fruitlessly fixating on outcomes we cannot direct, we practice letting go and aligning with life's great cosmic flow. Finally, in Lesson 7, we explored setting powerful intentions grounded in our core values and ideals. Through this nightly ritual, we become architects of our days, shaping our experiences into living expressions of our highest philosophies. By ritualizing these practices each evening, we weave the timeless Stoic wisdom into the very fabric of our modern existence. Our nights transform from hurried transitions into a calming oasis for purposeful introspection and recentering. So as the day's chaos fades and you prepare for rejuvenating sleep, embrace these teachings as gifts from the ancient sages. Let their words and perspectives serve as guides, illuminating your path towards self-mastery, mindfulness, and an unshakable inner peace. For in the sanctuary of our nights lies the power to sculpt not just our days, but the very essence of how we move through this remarkable journey called life. Will you awaken as a passive passenger swept along by circumstances, or a conscious crafter intentionally manifesting your ideals into each rising sun's adventure? The choice is yours to make, night after night. So grab a journal or gaze upwards at the stars and begin exploring these Stoic evening rituals. Find which resonate and make them your own. Because in their ancient simplicity lies a profound opportunity to transform your nightly slumbers from mere respites into the bedrock of an awakened, purposeful, and undauntedly philosophical existence.